Oh, welcome, Patty.
Welcome, Coach.
Yeah, Patty's got the sunglasses on.
We're running out to center field.
Oh, yeah. We're running out.
110 degrees yesterday, 82 today. So excited.
I'm so happy.
Excited. So, Scott Harries, how are you, pal?
I'm good. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited about this show. We're going to be talking about two things I'm interested in. One is leadership, and the other is cybersecurity. And it's a lot of show today, so if you're driving in your car, you might want to pull over to the side of the road. Just take the next hour and relax because you might just learn something that could change your life. What do you say?
I'm all for it. Pull over, take some notes.
So we have listeners all over the country. Samara is in Baltimore, wherever. Have you ever heard of Baltimore, Maryland?
Baltimore, Maryland.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
Home of somebody. Home of the Ravens. Yeah.
Definitely home of the Ravens.
Of the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
Big shout out to you,
Ravens.
Samara girl. Great to hear you. Wait, we're going to have her on the show in late July. Wait to
Okay.
hear her little voice. And then, of course, Cheryl and Jeanette.
Oh, yes.
My fave.
Hi, Cheryl.
My fave. Hi, Cheryl. Cheryl's bringing us a guest on July.
Also, Diane. Yeah, we got a big Diane out to Diane Forrester.
Diane loves
she's,
you.
Yeah, she's, well,
Diane's
I don't know, but we had a good talk last week.
Yeah, she told me.
Yeah.
Tells
very
me
nice.
everything.
I know.
Diane Forrester, big shout out, girl, if you're listening. We have listeners all over the country. Our biggest listeners are like Ohio, Oregon, Utah, Washington,
Minnesota, Las Vegas.
Big Minnesota
Soon to be
followers.
Spokane.
I had an office in
Yeah,
Spokane.
Spokane, Washington.
All right, let's get on with the show. So leadership, ladies and gentlemen, it's everything. And when I say everything, I from the bottom of my heart, Patty, are you listening to the show today?
Always listening, Coach.
So you have a family.
Yes.
I have a family. You're the leader of your family. Well, I'm not. My wife.
Well,
My
it depends on what
my wife.
what
I don't
elements we're
lead the
talking.
But leadership is so important. If you're going to have a life, learning how to lead, learning how to speak to people, learning how to inspire people, Patty, learning how to communicate.
You always inspire me, Coach.
When do you hear our next guest? This guy, first of all, is the CEO of a club that we both started called what is it called, Jason? What's our club called? The Whale something, right? What's our club?
Landing Big Whales.
Landing Big Whales. So first of all, he's got a great voice. I love his voice. So Jason Jimenez, welcome to Southern California. I'm so honored to have you. You have a beautiful way of leading people. You're the CEO of our Whale Club. We have like 12 alpha people. Everybody has a big ego, a healthy ego. I shouldn't say. You want to have a healthy ego, not a big ego.
Yeah, right. Healthy's good.
Where did you learn how to lead? How did you come about learning how to lead people?
I honestly can't tell you the exact moment in time. What I could tell you was a combination of things that over time, being around, listening, watching, and really trial and error, have developed these specific things that I think I would attribute my form of leadership, of what I think that I've been taught and I try to live by every day. And it really just boiled down to be able to define and look at individuals that I admire and aspire to try to be because of their examples that they did and mimic it as much as possible. And then make sure that I integrate it within who and what I am and what I stand for and what I believe. And at the end of the day, it's always being authentic and real and yet at the same time being conscious with the words because words matter.
Absolutely. That's well said. Watching other good people, good leaders, modeling, listening, which is something that a lot of people don't do. But I think listening, you can learn so much when you listen to people, and you can. I think sometimes people think leadership, you have to be out in front and boisterous a little bit and, saying something and, follow me, boys, right? And off we go.
That's right.
But their leadership can be very quiet and very subtle. And a lot of times people don't know they're being led from someone behind them, or someone who's not nearly as loud as they are.
You actually bring up a very good point. And as people get to know me a little bit, I always resonate. I love animals, right? The spirit of them, so to speak. And, the lion, you look at it from a perspective of, people have this perception of what a lion is and what it stands for. And for me, it's the fact that it will stand up and protect, quite frankly, if needed, kill to protect what they love the most and their pride, and that their pride is their unity. And and one of the things that you just brought up was the wolf pack.
Right.
The alpha wolf doesn't necessarily lead from the front. They lead from behind.
Right.
Because as long as everybody understands what their intentions are, what their focus is, and they're all on the same sync, then really they're just pushing from behind and being able to keep the pace. And that's super, super important.
Yeah, especially like you just mentioned something too, which I think is great. When you think of like a wolf pack, you could say, okay, a team, a work team, a group, and some kind of organization, whether it's work organization or charitable organization, and you can lead from many different places, but as long as you help people define their role and give them all the tools that they need in order to be successful, and then you motivate them to execute on that role, then in essence you are leading from behind. You are like the alpha wolf making it happen. And I think that's a great analogy, because I think good leaders in business or in team-oriented ways inspire their people to fulfill those roles and execute well on them.
I think Jason, I didn't think Scott Harries was that smart to get it, but I think that's your great strength. I think you allow people to identify themselves in a way that they feel like they're contributing. That's pretty smart of you, Scott, to get there.
Yeah, well.
Surprisingly.
Well, in the business that I've been in for years and years, you can't do it all. You can't be everywhere. So you have to have people, that I call role players, and if they're
But you're a nice person. I mean, you're not a manipulative person. Either is Jason. So talk about that for a second, Jason. Don't you think being genuine and really caring about people is part of the process of being a really good leader?
I think it's fundamentally just if we take it to the root cause. For me, in my opinion, it's just being human and knowing that we all have feelings and we all have intentions and things that are important to us, and being empathetic and sympathetic. And, at its right moments, and simply, when somebody's not performing well, as an example, rather than coming down on somebody and saying, why aren't you doing this? Or, this is going to be your last warning, or you're going to be, if you do this again, you're terminated. Whatever terminology or forceful tactic that I think usually may be applied, there is a huge impact in that. And I go back to what I said earlier, is like the words matter, right? Versus going up to the individual and saying, hey, coach, this doesn't, these results that you've lately brought in just don't necessarily match up to who you are, who I know you to be. Is everything okay? Are you okay? Right. And you'd be surprised how many people open up because people don't necessarily share within the work environment.
Wow. Where were you 30 years ago when I needed you? I needed this coaching 30 years. Wow.
No, that's no. What Jason just said, I think, is really key, because you don't always, there tends to be in the professional work environment, there tends to be two people, right? There's the person you are at work, and there's the person that you might be when you leave work, and not always are those people the same. And because sometimes people feel like I got to have an air of, confidence or bold or this or whatever it might be. And then in reality, they might be, someone a little bit different, but they're projecting what they think they need to do in order to be successful. And I think that if you can find people that can be, and Jason mentioned this in the very beginning, authentic as to who they are on and off the field, and apply themselves and use those skill sets, then I think you tend to be more successful because there's less conflict internally. But there's better communication, I think, overall between you and your co-workers or whoever you may report to, and they can read you better and help you better.
No question about it. You're listening to the Edge Radio Show. Scott Harries. That was Scott Harries. I'm the coach. I don't mean to interrupt.
No, but I just want to say one quick thing is that
I did interrupt.
But in a situation like what Jason just mentioned, like you come up to someone, ask them nicely or in some way, hey, you're not kind of something wrong. You really learn something about someone, and then you start to discover their real self sometimes, right? If they're not really sharing the right way. I think that's really key. I like your style, and I haven't even met you.
Yeah, no, I love his voice. I love his style. He is the president and CEO of a company called Shield, and we're going to get into our second.
The COO, sorry.
COO.
My partner who's on the phone is the CEO. I follow his lead.
What is the COO? Chief Operating Officer?
CEO. Mm-hmm. Oh, Chief Operating. Yeah,
no, I did say CEO, but I thought you were the head guy. So Jeffrey's the head guy.
CEO.
Yeah, he's my boss.
I love the name Shield. But
how do you spell
because
it?
because I love Iron Man and I love all those things. So,
I thought that too.
I know,
but this is a serious leadership and cybersecurity go together. I don't know how they go together.
No,
they
they
go
do.
together like never mind.
No, it all goes together because any business needs leadership. Our country needs leadership. We need leadership.
You and I really need
we both
leadership.
need
We got great wives.
Yes.
No, that's why we
my
married
leadership.
overhead.
Yes.
Jeffrey, welcome to the show. I asked your permission, so it's okay to say you were in the Secret Service. Thank you for your service to our country because you were always at risk. I know that. So in the government, it's too bad Jason isn't running the government. But when you look at yeah, I know. When you look at large organizations, do you see leadership today, Jeffrey, in government?
First of all, Coach, thanks for having me on the show here. Really appreciate that. And I want to respond back to Jason. And, he's the COO. I'm the CEO. But we are partners in this. We lead together. So I just want to make that very clear. And absolutely, I think that there are many great leaders in government service, and they're doing a great job. And one of the keys to leadership is mentorship, right? We have to mentor the future leaders to be a good leader, good leaders in the future.
Well, that's beautiful. That is a great point. We don't see enough mentorship, do we?
No, I think
you run a big organization.
Yeah,
we can't say what you do.
No, but we spend a lot of time mentoring. In fact, we used to spend a lot more time mentoring. But interestingly enough, in California, they changed the laws so much that every time you have someone someone may say, look, can I come in and shadow you? Can I come in and see what you do? Could I spend a couple weeks and do that? It used to be, yeah, sure, come on in. As long as you don't get in the way, and you ask good questions and they're smart, sure, you could be there. Now, California says, well, if you've got them there, you got to pay them, whatever, an hour, and then you got to do this and you got to do that, and you can't have them there more than 6 hours, and it's just, and it's, I understand that. I'm sure there's a lot of people that abuse the system some way. That's why. But what happens with government and some leadership styles is that they manage to the least common denominator and not to the actual situation in which you're dealing with.
Jeffrey and Jason, our wonderful guests, go to the website. If you're listening to my voice and you own a company, I'm telling you, we're going to get into this in the second segment. If you're not protecting your data, if you're not protecting your people, if you're not protecting your privacy, what's it called? This the name of the site. Shield.
Shield.
How do you spell
it? www.shyeld.us.
And if you got a Secret Service guy involved in the ownership, things are going to get done right.
Yeah, and this is the globally trusted leader in dark web intelligence and protection
Your
services.
company should take a look at this.
Oh, I know. I'm sure we probably do.
Probably.
Offline,
Probably.
I know we do.
We'll tell them offline what you do. We're not allowed to say online what you do. All right. So when you look at a mentorship, Jason, Jimenez, and Jeffrey, how do you pronounce your last name, Jeffrey? I want to do it properly.
It's pronounced Siedow.
Siedow.
Jeffrey Siedow.
Yeah.
Is that a pseudo name for Siedow? I mean, maybe it's not his real name, right? Secret Service, maybe not his real name. So mentorship, I love that, Jeffrey, because in this day and age where everybody is going so fast, why don't we slow down and do a little mentorship? Talk about that. How do you mentor an employee? Talk to us about that.
Well, you identify the employees that want to be mentored, that do want to grow with a company or an organization, and you lead by example, right? You lead them through various processes, but at the same time, you give them the opportunity to bring forth their ideas, and you look at those ideas, and if they are viable, then you can move forward with those ideas as well. But it's a partnership. I think any mentorship program is a partnership as well, where you have to give the individuals an opportunity to fail sometimes as well, right? You learn from failing, and you grow from those experiences. So I think it's a combination of leading by example, but at the same time giving the mentee an opportunity to thrive in that same environment.
I'll tell you, you just said something that I think is really, really important, and I think a lot of people in today's world do everything they can not to let their children or someone close to them fail, and they're doing a great disservice, because it's through the failures, I believe, in my life, when I really just bombed or messed up or did something really wrong, even if I thought at the time I was putting in a great effort, when I went through the failure and then learned, and you learn then to recognize some of the signposts and the signals of when you're on the wrong track and when things are going the wrong way. But you got to have the failure to understand what success is and how good it feels when you succeed after you have failed.
But we were athletes. You were an All-American. Right. I was a nothing. But I was a pretty good college baseball, and college football player.
You're a great mentor, and we call you coach because I know you
because
coached.
I was a coach.
You were a coach,
baseball coach.
But you are a great coach. You're a great mentor. I mean, the only reason I'm doing radio and on this show today was because you said, hello to me across.
Well, listen to that voice.
Exactly. You heard my voice, but you yelled across the room. You sat down with me. You listened to me for 2 hours, talk about my life, bought me lunch, and then you came and proposed to do this. Now, I would not be here if you hadn't had, one, had done that, two, had to sit through thousands of hours of radio with me stumbling all over the place and saying all the stupid things and the ums and and all those things that I still do. But had you not done that, I would not be learning a new skill and finding that I love to be on the radio and do something to help.
You're very sweet to say that. You're listening to award-winning KHTS, and I'm not kidding when I say award-winning. This station in Southern California, 98.1 FM and 12, it does more for this community. They write checks. They save families. They save lives. They won all kinds of community awards. If you're not listening to this station, or you are listening, tell your friends, because this show, selfishly, brings on the best people in the United States. I'm not kidding you.
Yep, we do.
Every week.
We do.
And
we have great people, the Goldmans.
That own the station.
Own the station. They're just wonderful.
Yeah.
They put up with us and
our bosses,
giving us this opportunity, and but they do such great things in the community. It is true.
So Jason Jimenez, your leadership style, I see it every day. I love it. It's amazing when you're dealing with alpha personalities, how you're able to calm us all down, bring us all together. When you look at the book that you're going to write on leadership style, it's a quiet style, and sometimes you don't see that. The rah-rah person isn't always the best leader, is it?
I don't think so. I think that, the rah-rah, it feels more like it's about that one individual, it's about what's in it for me, right? And I have to reference something that y'all are been alluding to, and it's one of these quotes that I took from a movie that it just keeps popping up in my life over and over again. And I'll read it to you real quick. It's a segment. It says, when somebody was coming in and saying, I don't know if I can fill into these shoes, if I can lead, if I can take on the responsibility. And the response to this particular person was, you keep what keeps you from greatness is your fear of failure. It's not until you learn the most significant and most important lesson of all that your greatness will come out. And the answer is, it's not about you. And not until then will a whole new opening and a whole new world be able to be created for new possibilities.
So important.
And that
quote,
quote has stuck with me for years. And you know where that quote came from?
No.
Dr. Strange, from the
That's
I love
great.
it that you're a movie buff.
Well, that's right out of the Marvel, right?
The MCU.
That's right.
Yeah. Right.
That's right.
The MCU.
And that's the truth, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is that when we come in, no different than if you're playing whatever sport or you're coming into a company, when we put ourselves second and we put the company first, the company will take care of you. And if everybody's focused, it's no different between a husband and wife, boyfriend or girlfriend, or whatever it is.
Right.
At the end of the day, if I give you 100% and you give me 100%, what issue should we have?
Right.
The only time when there's issues show up is when somebody starts backing away and the other person feels it but never speaks up.
It's interesting you said that 100%, because I've heard so many times, well, they won't meet me halfway. They won't, they need to come 50% here, and if they give me 50%, I'll give them 50%. No, that's not. You're looking at it the wrong way. Unless you're in 100%, you're all in. I'm in the pool, right? I'm not standing on the edge. I don't got my toe in. I'm in the pool.
Well,
I'm wet.
It's complicated.
Works.
You're leaving out commitment. We're going to come right back. Jason, we just asked the board if you would be the CEO of the Edge Radio Show and come back many times because we need you, son. I mean, we really need you. Jason Jimenez, the name of his company is Shield.
SHYIELD.US.
Check it out because we're going to come back and talk about what Jason and Jeffrey do. Isn't it interesting? Jason and Jeffrey, how did that work out, right? That sounds good. Jason
the
and
JJ Shield.
The JJ, yeah. Very important, critically important subject, yes. Cybersecurity. Ladies and gentlemen, it could be the future of how this country survives, and I'm not kidding. We'll be right back on award-winning KHTS, the Edge Radio Show, right here in Southern California.
Join the Canyon Theater Guild for in-person workshops for children up to 17 years old this summer. Kids become their favorite fairy tale characters in Character Matters, Return of the Fairy Tale Advice Council. Juniors take to the high seas in Dave the Brave and the Pirateers, facing crocodiles, sirens, and the notorious pirate Lady Legs. Be our guest with the stars and Disney's Beauty and the Beast Jr. Call 661-799-2702 or visit canyontheater.org.
When you're looking for a midnight snack, sometimes fast food just doesn't cut it. California Bakery and Cafe is open 24/7, so you'll be able to find fresh donuts, danishes, bagels, all-natural fruit juices, gourmet sandwiches, and much more at any hour. With elaborate cakes for any occasion, including weddings, baptisms, anniversaries, corporate events, or any special event. California Bakery and Cafe in Santa Clarita is open 24 hours to satisfy any craving anytime. Call us, 255-1254. That's 255-1254.
And now, a cooking tip from Keith Mowry of Bob's Country Meats. Cooking brisket is simple, whether you do it in the oven or on the grill.
Okay, briskets come out nice. You want to brown them up real good on the barbecue over a medium heat. Season them up however you like. Wrap them in foil. Put them on the other side, go down to a low temperature, low heat, and let that go for about 2.5, 3 hours, just on low with the lid closed.
For the tastiest brisket in town, visit Bob's Country Meats on Soledad in Canyon Country.
I listen to it all day, every day.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Harries and I have been blessed in our lives to be able to pay our rent on time. And we want to do this show to give you an edge. And what does that mean? People say, well, what does the edge stand for? Well, if you have an edge in life, like I'm tall, dark, and handsome, I have an edge, right?
Exactly.
It gives you an advantage. No, you're tall too, but being tall and handsome gave me an advantage. Seriously, I'm trying to be serious now.
No.
It always gave me an advantage.
No, I believe.
You want to see pictures of me 35 years ago?
I have seen those pictures.
Wasn't I handsome 35
You're very
years
handsome.
ago? All right, so this segment, Patty, why are you laughing? Just because I look like an old dog now doesn't mean
I'm just smiling. I'm always smiling.
I was like a cute little puppy. Yeah. Okay, so this segment is so important to me personally because I own a company. You're involved in a big company. Cybersecurity. The future of the United States, the future of business is all about cybersecurity. So I want to introduce Jason Jimenez, who is my leader in Clubhouse, in our whale room, and Jeffrey, who was I'm not going to give his last name for obvious reasons. I think.
Well, he says okay.
Well, I don't think it's okay because what if somebody? Well, Jeffrey, you can give your last name. I want to protect you, sir. You were in the Secret Service. You were the head leaders of the Secret Service. Is it okay to give your last name?
Coach, if you want to give my last name, that's just fine.
Okay.
Technically, they already have it.
Coach
Jeffrey Siedow.
Right. So I don't care which one of you start, but this is such a serious subject for me. My wife and I talk about it all the time. I talk to about my business partners. Most of our listeners right now are working from home. They're listening to our show on hometownstation.com, or they're listening on the best radio app in the country. Go to the App Store. It's KHTS 1220 AM. Cybersecurity. So let's start with the home. Everybody's working from home. Everybody has computers. Is there a way to protect our data at home, guys?
Go ahead, Jeff. I'll let you go.
Yeah, absolutely. There are ways to protect your data. There's certain steps you can follow, making sure that your software is up to date, that everything is patched. You have antivirus software to keep the viruses out. You don't click on links that are sent to you from unknown senders, and you avoid nefarious websites. All things that are pretty common sense, you would think, but people do that.
But Jeffrey, I swear to God, I get stuff sent to me with logos of banks, and it looks real, but it's not. And
it's called phishing.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
PH.
What do you call it?
Phishing.
So, I'm an older gentleman. 9 grandkids, 4 adult kids. How would I know if the site is real?
So here's something I want to add to that, if I could.
Yes, please.
Yeah, please, Jason. Go ahead.
The fact, and I'm going to quote Elon Musk. He just recently, a couple months ago, put out a quote and said, "We as humans will race to the wall to charge our phones, but we don't take the time to plan." And I'm going to change it a little bit. We don't take the time to actually read what we're actually about to click on, because sometimes it's just one letter, one dot that's moved or changed that allows you to identify that this is not a real email, that it is a potential hacker trying to get in.
Right.
And fundamentally, people just need to slow down.
Yeah, they do their very best to imitate everything, but many times if you just look up at the
bar,
email, the email,
the
sender,
URL bar,
and just look at what it says. And for example, if it's Wells Fargo Bank, it's going to say, whatever wellsfargo.com, right? wellsfargobank.com, or whatever the industry it might be in. But you look at it and it says Wells Fargo Bank / something dot UK, or or whatever, you know, you got to question those things, because just like what Jason said, reading and understanding what you're about to click on is so important, because
we don't have time.
I mean, we go through. I mean, every day. Like one of my biggest clients, in fact, my biggest client, just the other day called us and said that someone had gotten their information and that they were calling almost all the banks. They didn't know where he might have accounts and different things. They were calling all of these different banks trying to get wires sent out, big wires, you know, big kind of money. And and so, you know, even when someone who, you know, does a lot of this for a living and thinks about this for a living, you can still get hacked, and people get your information.
Do you guys, your company Shield, S-H, how do you spell it?
SHYIELD.US.
They're an international company. They do a heck of a job.
Right.
Otherwise, I wouldn't put them on the show. Do you guys, is there such a thing as should I hire a hacker to protect me, or is that what you guys do? I hire you and then you protect me? Is that how it works?
Jeff?
No, I wouldn't advise hiring a hacker. I don't think you need to have a hacker to protect you. I think that just using some common sense and be wary when you're checking your emails. As an example, when I receive emails, and quite honestly, as Scott said, you know, they can look pretty realistic. But as both Scott and Jason alluded to, many times there's a typo or something in there. But even if everything's all correct, and I receive an email that says, you know, click here to read, you know, the policy update or what have you.
Yes.
I don't do that. I don't click that link. That's a key to disaster. I would instead go to the website, the real website that you know of, and read any policy updates and things like that. So the real key here is just not to click on links of emails that are sent to you. And, you know, most big companies or companies that are sending emails to you do not contain those links any longer. So it's for that reason.
Got it.
Right.
What do you guys do? What does Shield do? If I hire you, give me your 30-second elevator pitch. What's Shield.com spelled? How do you spell it, Scott?
SHYIELD.
What do you do?
Jason, you want to take this one?
Yeah, for sure.
30-second elevator pitch.
So Shield, what we do is we protect we protect the following: the intellectual property, your financials, and your strategic initiatives. And strategic initiatives are defined as if you're looking to expand your market, you're looking to buy a company, we make sure that we protect it against data breaches, malware, sensitive information from the individuals around the world that are genuinely trying to take that information and sell it into the market and repurpose it.
Wow.
We give you the ability for you to be able to fundamentally protect yourself so that you could concentrate on what's important, so you don't, and we take care of all the rest so you don't have to.
Okay.
So what is your you know, typical client look like? Is it larger corporations, you know, big to small, you know, private businesses, or all of the above?
We actually provide services for all of the above, from enterprise to large corporations.
Right.
And yet, we knew and we've known that the small to medium-sized businesses are probably one of the most exposed because people don't think that they're big enough and people care about them.
Right.
But the reality is, if they actually go and do ransomware for companies who, let's say, they make $1 million a year, as an example, they're not real big. They're not doing 50 million, 100 million. And what threshold are they willing to get their information back if there was a ransomware?
Right.
And imagine if they did that to 1,000 people, 1,000 companies that just made $500,000 or $1 million a year. Well, they're not going to pay out $600,000 to get the information back because they just can't afford it. But would they pay back $500, maybe $2,000 to get the information back? Times that by 1,000.
This is what's going on. This is what's going on.
Well, yeah. I mean, can you guys talk? Can you explain a little bit what happened with like Colonial, the pipeline, just for our listeners to really understand how they got held up and what happened? Just You know, 'cause that was a big
Yeah,
deal,
yeah.
right? I mean, that
Yeah,
raised oil prices for a while on the East Coast. It caused all kinds of havoc.
I'll take that one. And we hear about Colonial Pipeline, JBS Foods, the Houston Rockets, Kia Motors. I mean, all the big ones. The ransomware attacks. But there are typically millions of attacks every year you don't hear about.
Right.
So you hear about the big ones, but not the millions of others that also occur. And what happens is, ransomware is a type of malicious software that infects the computer, and it restricts your access to it until a ransom is paid to unlock it. We've been seeing this for quite some time, and the reason for the bigger attacks and why you hear about the bigger attacks is it's a bigger payoff, right? So you'll see this continuing for infrastructure, for healthcare. Any business that really has a need to get their systems up and running, you're going to continue to see these ransomware attacks. So, and it all starts with generally with a phishing email, that has malicious attachments, and through that malicious phishing, you click on that link, it infects the software in your system, and there's a malware variant that encrypts the files, and that allows these threat actors to take over your systems.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that because, I'm in a large multinational corporation, and so they have right on your email, they have a spot, right? So if you open an email and you look at it and you go, I know this is bad, or I'm not sure this is bad, you can then instead of opening it or deleting it or doing anything with it, you can go up and hit a button, and it's a phishing button, and it automatically sends it right to the people in the company that are dealing with this, so that they can identify if there's malware in there or ransomware and all these things. And then they constantly are sending out bogus emails to see if you let your guard down and click on it, and it's not like you get zapped in your chair for doing it.
That's an interesting.
I
like
that. But then they, if you do it, then later that day you'll get an email from someone, or you might get a phone call from someone
from Shield,
and they'll say, "Guess what? That email you did, if that had been the real deal, you would have compromised our whole system."
I like their name,
Very
Shield.
It sounds like your company has some pretty good systems in place then, a pretty good team, right?
Yeah.
They're testing the folks you have on your team as well as allowing them an opportunity to get rid of those malicious emails. And that's why really I think that we at Shield focus on, the small and mid-sized businesses that may not have those same capabilities to be able to protect them as well.
Right.
So question, Jason said something that just sparked my interest, and that is mergers and acquisitions. If you're listening to my voice and you're thinking about buying a company, you better look into what the other companies do. Right? Well,
right.
I mean, that is wow. You just
it's something. It's something that I could tell you that is not being done.
No,
properly.
I know it's not being
done. There's
done.
so much due diligence. There's so much due diligence in doing the vetting of a corporation, the operational experience, their strategic initiatives, their current market share, in addition to the financials, and breaking everything down to a granular level. And the one thing that they failed to look into, as far as private equity venture capital firms, is they failed to look at their technology and their infrastructure, because someone, it doesn't. Let me put it this way: most companies, I would venture to say, are already hacked. Information's already been taken,
right.
And in a lot of cases, they're just sitting there waiting, learning your habits and learning the things that you do and how you do it, and waiting for that right opportunity. If that merger or acquisition comes in, or that acquisition comes in, and there's an inflection of things that are changing, including as monetary, that would be a good time. In Dallas, several months ago, there was a private equity firm that got taken for $500,000 simply because of a company that they acquired, and they did not take into consideration the technology that they were inheriting and merging it with their own existing technology. It is something that is a market, and we definitely are focused on that as well.
All right, we got to take a break. But
okay, can I just a follow-up question to that, and maybe we can answer it when we come back from the break. But
you want to say the follow-up question?
Yeah, I wanted to just ask you, so you can be thinking about it. Would be, if we're getting ready to do that, and just like you said, as you're going through someone's financials and looking at the business, everything, how can someone hire you then to come in and look at the two technology systems and make
how they
figure out where
how they integrate?
How they integrate, and if there's
the short answer is yes.
Okay,
that is absolutely what we can do.
Okay,
be right back. This is a great. We have 9 minutes left. They're going to have to come back in a month or two. This is a serious subject.
Yep.
This is very serious. Cybersecurity. Be right back on the Edge Radio Show on award-winning KHTS 98.1 FM, 1220 AM. Be right back.
The 4th of July fireworks are back at the Valencia Town Center. And like past years, KHTS is going to be broadcasting the synchronized music. It's a fun, memorable event for the entire family. So bring your lawn chairs, grab a spot early before the sun sets. And be sure to tune your radio to 98.1 FM or AM 1220 to celebrate the birth of our nation. The July 4th fireworks is presented by the City of Santa Clarita. Our music simulcast is made possible by our friends at Hestia Med Spa on Valencia Boulevard.
Lots of people can build websites, but there's one Santa Clarita company that specializes in designing websites for your business. Small Dog Creative. The Small Dog Creative team is made up of local designers who are hands-on. Their talented team of experts build premium websites and redefine branding. Small Dog Creative doesn't just build websites. They'll upgrade your business's online presence and turn your business into a powerful online brand. Small Dog Creative. Santa Clarita's most innovative web and design company. SmallDogCreative.com.
Today for lunch, why not try The Sandwich Shop, located on Avenue Stamford, right off Rye Canyon. The Sandwich Shop offers dozens of hot or cold, affordable, premium deli sandwiches. Gourmet soups and salads are also available. Regulars indulge in the cheesy focaccia rolls, which is a customer favorite. Then top it off with owner Charlie Chung's chunky chocolate chip cookies. Breakfast and catering is also available. The Sandwich Shop, since 1983, located on Avenue Stamford, right off Rye Canyon. ValenciaSandwichShop.com to place your order.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
We don't take callers, but this caller's voice is so cute. I had to put her on. Ma'am, do you have a question of our guest from Shield? Is it shield.com, Jason?
.us.
Yeah.
Oh, .us.
Yes, it's
What's that?
www.shield.us.
.us? Where's US at? Where's that?
It's on the North America.
Oh.
It's all.
So caller, Samara, your name is Samara. What a cute little name. What do you have a question of these two gentlemen? One's a Secret Service agent, and the other is the COO of Shield.us.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have a question. So the services that Shield is providing, are they helping small businesses or larger corporations? And once you discover a security breach, do you help with the repairing the damage?
Oh, great question.
Great
caller.
question.
Very good question.
Yeah, that was a great question. And the answer is we service all size companies, and yet we are inspired by helping those who can't help themselves. When you talk about mid-sized companies and large companies, they have usually the financial budget to have an internal team to be able to be focused on the cybersecurity side. But we've designed our system with automation and technology to be able to streamline it and make it so simplistic so that the small to medium-sized businesses can take advantage of big corporation tech tools and techniques to be able to protect what is most important to them. Because we know and we believe that in today's world, that it is no longer just a corporate responsibility. There's a moral responsibility, because typically the management and C-level executives, if the company were to be shut down for a week or a month, they may be able to continue because they have the financial wherewithal to protect themselves. But the individual that lives check to check as the employee, isn't necessarily as lucky sometimes. So if they happen to have to close down because of a ransomware, that changes lives. And now we've designed a company to be able to streamline that. So we protect everyone, including the person from the very bottom, the janitor, all the way up to the CEO and everybody in between.
Wow, I just got a text from a listener. Look at there's the text. The listener says they've got 2 people they want to introduce to your company. Samara, is that your name? Your first name? Could we hire you to be a professional caller? Does she have a cute voice?
Uh-huh. Is it my cute, sweet voice there, Coach Ron? So let me just do a follow-up question.
Why don't you take over the show?
I'm taking over the show. I just want to know if there's insurance to protect companies when they're in that temporary breach time where they're trying to repair and start over and bring everything down. So is there insurance policies? Because, Jason, I've done a little research on you. I know you're in insurance as well, aren't you?
Good job. Yes, I am. So I've been in insurance for over 21 years, and the answer is yes. Shield was designed not only to protect those who can't protect themselves, but what we've also done, we've created a holistic approach. So not only will we protect the leak detection from anybody taking your information, and we'll also make sure that we do penetration testing, which is analyzing your infrastructure of your hardware and your software of if there's any doors that have been left open for hackers to come in and just sit there and or immediately take your stuff. What we also do is we provide cybersecurity insurance on a national scale by the top-rated insurance carriers in the market. And then our job is that we tailor-make an insurance cybersecurity policy for each individual company that we represent. Why? Because it doesn't matter how well you securitized yourself and protected yourself with the hardware and software. If your insurance policy that is designed, it's there to protect the financial impact that you're going to have, not only from a legal perspective, but also from the perspective of the remediation of what it is that you do. Because when you do get breached, our job is to make sure that we give you the information immediately so you can be proactive versus reactive. But more importantly, we're also going to give you solutions of how to remediate and mitigate that loss immediately so that you can be proactive.
I learned more from this caller than in the last hour. Samara, great question. So I can buy insurance to protect me against cyber hacking, correct?
That is correct. Now, it is a 2-party contract, just like any contract out there. So it is imperative for people to know, whether it be small, large, or medium-sized businesses, it is a contract, which means that not only is there responsibility from the carrier to protect and to pay out what is needed, but there's also obligations that the company needs to abide by.
Right.
So that is super important.
So if we put insurance in place and it's based on me having a certain threshold or system in place and people acting a certain way, and you have you let your guard down, you do something stupid, you're not going to collect on that insurance at that point. It's got to be because everything was in place, running the way it was supposed to, and then something happened.
Well, that's a really good point, and it's a really good question. And here's an answer to that from a perspective of claims out. In the last 3 years, there's been an increase of over 30% insurance claims that have been denied, but it's not because of anything else other than because of negligence or failure to perform. Because if an individual company comes and does a penetration test or does any type of research and they identify that there's exposures or possibilities of leakage of information or there's a potential of access to be hacked, and last but not least, there is no education to your employee base by educating them of what to do and not to do, the insurance cybersecurity policy basically says, if you knew this was possible, what process and procedures and quality control programs have you put in place to mitigate it? Because if you did not do so, then you are negligent in trying to protect something that you, quite frankly, knew that was possible.
All right.
And that is when companies get in danger.
All right, we got to leave here in a minute. We're going to have you back in August. And, Jeffrey, I'm sorry that your COO didn't give you a chance to talk very much. So when you come back in August, Jeffrey, you're going to get a chance to talk a lot because this is such an important. We're doing a public service now.
Absolutely.
Of helping the community. I don't know about any of this stuff. I didn't know that you could buy insurance, but you have to do your due diligence.
Right.
Otherwise, why would the insurance company pay off if you're stupid, right?
Right.
Like I am.
No, it's this is one of the most
Patty,
important issues that's facing American industry today. It's the theft of intellectual property. It's all of these things that keep us competitive worldwide, and that's why. And we're the leader in the world, and so that's why you have bad actors
I have no
internationally
intellectual property.
all over that are trying to hack in and steal what everybody's doing. Whether it's you look at these high tech companies that are whether it's Blue Origins or SpaceX or somebody like that, what they're doing is state of the art, and people are trying to get in and hack, and it's unbelievable.
This is a serious subject. Is getting a vaccine shot. I can't be more serious.
Right.
Did you say thank you to our caller?
Oh, thank you, Samara, for calling in with such a great question.
You can call in every week, Samara. Tuesdays and Thursdays we're on at noon. Every Tuesday and Thursday.
But I want to say thanks first and foremost to Jason.
What's the name of the company?
And to Jeffrey for coming on and really enlightening us.
He's taken 3 pages of notes, you guys.
You
can't believe the notes.
So,
Patty, is he taking notes or what?
do.
Oh, he's taking notes, all right.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
So remember, this their company is www.shyeld.us. www.
See you guys in August. We'll see you in
US.
August. See you Tuesday. See you Thursday. What's today? Tuesday?
Thank you.
We'll see you Thursday. Noon. Thursday.